Hello and welcome to Thumb Culture. Today we're doing a slightly different video. We're doing a force feedback comparison video using our Fanatec CSL Elite steering wheel along with our play seat challenge seat. So we're going to go through 4 games. We're going to go through Project Cars 2, which is what we are starting on. We've got F1 2017, or is it 18? The latest one, can't remember exactly, but we'll tell you when we get there. GT Sport and Assetto Corsa. Now each game runs the wheels slightly different. Some of them are fully compatible, others you have to play in compatibility mode. But what we're looking for is for that force feedback experience, as it were. So what we've done is we're going to try and go on the same course, the same track, which isn't always going to be possible in the case of F1, purely because we're also going to be using the same kind of cars. And we're going to use GT3 cars, or GR3, whichever they come into. In this case, we are using the McLaren, and we are going to get out on track and essentially just going based on what settings I've got it on from when I've played it in the past, and sort of go through to see all of the options. So what we've got in here, we've got the controls, and we go through to force feedback. So we've got it set up for raw, so we should have unfiltered force feedback, which should feel all of the different forces. Now we've got 100% up on the gain. If you're watching this and you've got other settings for us to try, then please send them to us so we can try them. We would gladly try them, but these are ones that I have been playing around with and find that they give the best feeling on the race. Now I haven't played this game in quite a while, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a few laps around Brands Hatch GP, and just to see how the force feedback feels. Go. So we'll come out of the pits here, and we're going to go for the view that is over the top of the car rather than inside the car. Okay, there we go. We've got control of the car now. Okay, well that's not a good start. We've got cold tyres, so let's try and warm these tyres up. I should also have checked the assists. But from my recollection, the force feedback on Project Cars was good, apart from when you went over curbs. Now the ABS was kicking in there, giving us a little bit of a rumble, so I'll give it a bit of a boot. Now for the purposes of this, I am playing with manual automatic gears, just so I can concentrate on my braking points. So there we go. So the force feedback off the track is good. Obviously that's what I was testing there. But those things there, when you hit the bumps, you don't really feel the big bump hits on what we've got it set onto. Like that there, didn't really feel anything. Feel it under braking. Power slide around the corner. You know, you feel the track slightly, which is good. You feel it under braking. You feel the road trying to slip out from underneath you, but you don't feel those big bumps if you hit a curb. And that there, you don't feel that either. It's a shame because this game has so much potential for force feedback. It's the curbs, you know. Now I know I'm not herring around this track trying to set lap times, because that's not what this is about, but they're going over the rumble strip. I can hear it. You know, I can hear it in my headphones, but I can't feel it, which is a very, very big disappointment, especially when we come on to games later where, you know, you want to feel those vibrations in there, you know, and it feels great. The actual steering is fighting me. You know, I mean, I've taken the steering wheel off so you can't see the steering wheel. But, you know, coming up to these corners here, the car just wants to go, you know? Like I say, we're not setting thunderous lap times. There, get a little bit of bumps when the car goes miles over, but you know. But you don't get those big bumps that you want if you hit curbs hard, you know. See there, it's trying to tear me off, but a little bit of impact. So, you know, it's a good representation of force feedback. However, it's not the best, unfortunately. There's a whole bunch of games out there, and unfortunately this one just isn't the best. So let's move on to our next game. So in conclusion, before we head over, so the track elements are good. You can feel the car underneath you. You always get a lot of ABS stuff on this. You know, it is just the way the game unfortunately plays. The bumps on the track are good. You get a little bit of vibration now and again through the, you know, on the things, but I don't with this wheel. I mean, it might be completely different with a different wheel. It'd be interesting to know if you play in Project Cars, you know, do you get the rumble of the rumble strips, I suppose, is the best way to ask. Do you feel the rumble in the jungle? You know, I feel it spinning, but I don't feel it anything else. So let's move on to our next game. And as if by magic, here we are on our second game, which is F1 2017. I possibly would consider this to have a fantastic force feedback system, primarily because you need to be able to feel all of the bumps and everything on the track. So if I take you into my controls and let you just see what I have it set up to. Now there we are on my CSL Elite. Let's edit that. And let's go to our force feedback strength. So I have force feedback right up. I want to feel everything. I have the on-track effects, which are the little bumps, down to 20. This was primarily because this is kind of the little divots and things. Now you want to be able to feel them, but you don't want them to be fighting against you too much. Rumble strip effects I have got down to 40. Off-track effects, which are grass, are 30. Now I don't want to be bumping all over the place when that is happening. But then I've also got 100 on the wheel weight, which is obviously the tyre forces through the wheel, so I can feel if things are going slightly awry. And with understeer enhance on, so that it can tell me when things are losing grip. Maximum wheel rotation is fine. So let's do a few races. Now, because we haven't got Brands Hatch on this game, I am around Sochi in Russia. Which is a great track. It has a lot of long sweeping corners with lots of curbs for me to go over. So let's get going. So we're just going around the first couple of corners first, and I'll take over on the straight 2 corners before. So as we break in, there's little vibrations, and you can feel every little vibration on the track. I'm feeling all of them, essentially. So there we go. Let's open the DRS. As we come down to this fast section of corners, we'll brake a bit early just so we can go over this. Oh, beautiful. Force feedback going over those there is fantastic. Now I have this set to medium traction control. With practice, I could quite easily move up into sort of a higher traction control, but I don't practice enough, is the honest answer. which I probably will do. But the force feedback on this game is tremendous. Oh, there we go, just caught it. You can see the little steering wheel of my man. If I go a bit too much, he has to readjust, and that's actually me readjusting. So, like I say, the force feedback on this game is fantastic. There are tracks on here where if you have a big curb, and if you hit that curb with any kind of force, you will get thrown. Bit of corner cut, that's fine. Take it out wide. I like this view more so for when you're actually battling with somebody. You can actually see a bit better where they are. A bit deep. Oh, little slide there on the way in. Don't know if you caught that on the audio, but essentially we're moving up the leaderboard. Not that I'm worried too much about going hell for leather on this again. Like I say though, the force feedback on this game is, oh, bumping over, is tremendous. The group that I play online with, we have a little online championship, and they always know if I've gone off the track because they can hear the motors in the steering wheel kicking around quite loudly actually. I'll see if I can, I don't know if you can hear any knocks or anything. But essentially, oh, little readjustment mid-corner there, that was not good. I'm trying to find a big curb, but I don't think this is the right track for a big curb. You know, this is just a great game. If you're into your Formula 1 games and you haven't played this, then you really are missing out. I forget that on time trial they are very, very strict on the old corner cuttings, aren't they? I lost a little bit of grip there. You can feel it on this. The steering just all of a sudden goes really light, and you have to get ready for some counter steer or ease off. You have to make your own mind up onto what the best route for you to do is, really. Which is great because it just enables you to feel everything. You know, if you go too hot into a corner there, you know, the grip, and you try and turn in, the steering wheel goes light and everything. Let's see if we can find a big curve for you and see if we can make some racket. No. Oh, there we are, few little bubbles. Like I say, this game for force feedback is, well, one of the best. You know, let's have a bit of comparison to Project Cars. So, Project Cars, you do feel a lot of the track elements. You do feel the car sliding. Sometimes maybe not quick enough. Sometimes, you know, it could come in a little bit sooner, but obviously this is a Formula 1 car, so the cars you can't really compare in total. But in terms of the elements that are on the show, yeah, over the top of that crest, the steering just goes incredibly light. You just need the rumble strips. You really could do with the rumble strips on Project Cars 2, just so that you know when you've gone over them. You know, there. Oh, when you're on the motorway, you know if you're over the hard shoulder, because it just buzzes you like crazy. And that's the kind of things that you need on a racing game. You know, you need to feel everything. You know, you need to be feeling. Oh, rubbish. You know, you need to be feeling all of the vibrations. You need to be feeling when the steering goes light and things like that. And this is a prime example of that. So, I think what we need to do now is move on to our next game. So I'm going to pause it going into the corner there. So this has been F1 2017, which is our second game in the series. So now we're going to move across onto Assetto Corsa. We see you there. And here we are back at Brands Hatch after our quick jaunt off to Russia. We are back in old Blighty and we are on Assetto Corsa this time, obviously with Assetto Corsa on your screen, back driving the McLaren. So Assetto Corsa is the is a great sim, really. There's no other way to describe it. So we're just going to get straight in to the controls. So let's go to our advanced controls so you can see our force feedback settings, and there we are, 100% on the force feedback, 50% on the curb force feedback, road force feedback and slip force feedback with the understeer effects on. So let's get going and see how it drives. So we start off in the pits. Brum, brum, brum. There we are, that's me turning the steering wheel, and I'm just going to go onto this view. There you go. Let's see how this plays. So you can feel a lot of vibration under braking, which is great. And under turning, you can definitely feel the tyres slipping. Which is good, because you want to feel those tyres on the wheels. Definitely tells you when you've got grip. So let's compare this to Project Cars. This is just a different class, really. I can feel everything. I can feel the curves, and I'm going to prove that point now by I'm going to go over a couple of curves in a minute. That curve wasn't exactly a very big curve, which is like I say, we could turn the curves up, but it's a great, the force feedback on the actual car is brilliant. You can feel when that, oh there we go, there was a nice little jolt on a car, on a curve there, so it throws you back into the track. And I can feel that slipping like crazy. That curve there, buzzing away, going deep. Oh, that vibration under braking was phenomenal. And that curve there, I managed to catch that one. So this is a great example of what Project Cars really should have been like. It's sending all of the right signals to the wheel. Yeah, I can feel it slipping and everything underneath me. The understeer is brilliant, so I can feel it when it's understeering, with the car is just vibrating away. Whoa, there we go. It wants to spit me out sideways. You really have to be paying attention to make sure that you are keeping track on what's going on the track. Yeah, lovely, lovely little slide around that corner there. Lovely, 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 lovely. So, let's compare. You can't really compare it to F1 that much. The strength is pretty similar in terms of what's going on track. But in terms of the comparison to Project Cars, I mean, this is... Now if I try and turn too early into a corner, I am understeering. Turn too hard into a corner, whoa. Let's save that. And the curbs are nasty, which is what you want. You want that little risk and reward, like this one here. Yeah, it just gave me a little nudge back out. My whole body is shaking when I go under, when it goes through understeer. Like my whole body. because of that understeer enhance. If I come back into here, go back into controls and turn off understeer enhance, let's see how it affects going into this first corner. Now I'm half expecting there not to be, yeah, no understeer knowledge at all. You know, no vibrations of understeer whatsoever. Got the sliding there where I was power sliding, but oh, off track. There we go, we're on track. So is it good? I think so. Is it the best track? Force feedback? Well, maybe. I mean, it is pretty brutal. Coming down just this straight and you can feel all the little bumps and lumps and bumps. See, sliding. So there we have it. This is Assetto Corsa with some great force feedback, down to the point where you just get brutalized. You know, you get that vibration. If you have that understeer enhancement on, you just get absolutely brutalized. It is fantastic. And, you know, what else is there to say? So this has been Assetto Corsa. So now we're going to move on to our final racing game, our final track racing game, should I say, because we're not including games like the Crew or Drive Club in here. These are pure track racers, as it were. I know that there are other track racers out there, but these are the four main ones that I wanted to include in this video. So the final one is going to be GT Sport. So we'll see you over there. So let's start on GT Sport now. This is a game that is in compatibility mode for my steering wheel, but it does a great job with the force feedback. It really, really does. And I mean, it's not as good as the other games because they were all in pure force feedback mode, but you do get a good idea of curbs and track. You know, hit off the track and you are getting bumped around like crazy, as you can see. They're getting bumped like mad. Go from the outside of the view for a little while just so we can see. And there we go, back inside. So there we go. So you got a few little knocks. You really do have to. Whoa, a little kick there as we're coming up the hill. A few little bumps there. I mean, like I say, it's not as good as Assetto Corsa by any stretch of the imagination, but you do get knocks if you hit the wall, which I think is great. You get the little knocks on the track, but because it is only compatibility mode, you can't expect everything to be included, which is a bit unfair to compare this to Assetto Corsa, in my opinion, purely because Assetto Corsa is fully compatible with this CSL Elite wheel. So you do get all of the effects that you need when playing a racing game. You know, you do get every little bump and scratch on the curbs on Assetto Corsa, whereas on this I can only compare it to it's a tighter version of Project Cars 2. And by tighter, I mean the steering feels heavier, the steering feels much firmer. Now when I turn into this corner here, I know that that's where I'm pointing and that's where I'm going. Yes, the force feedback may not be as good as Assetto Corsa, but the actual driving on this is a great example. You know, and we're coming around to basically just having fun on this, which I think is the main thing when you're playing a racing game. I'm playing with medium traction control as well. I could switch that down and be sliding around the track a bit more, but I don't see much point because you want to be racing, you want to concentrate on the racing element, you know. You feel when it goes understeer and everything, you know, you feel it all. But there, just feeling all those vibrations. You don't feel them on every corner, but you certainly feel the bigger corners. That's for sure. And it's just a great game in general, GT Sport. You know, if you haven't played it or you haven't had the opportunity to play it, I do highly recommend trying to get a play on it. Again, I may not be the fastest driver in the world, but you know, I like to have fun, and that's the main thing. So as we're coming around, where do we rate all of these games? Well, in my opinion, F1 has to come top, in my opinion. I mean, Assetto Corsa is fantastic for force feedback. There's no doubt about it. No absolute doubt about that for the force feedback on Assetto Corsa is something else. It is really, really good. But for overall experience, I just find that F1 is just, you know, I'm fighting more with F1. I'm challenging myself more with F1. Assetto Corsa, you know, maybe it's just the cars. So you know, maybe it is unfair of me to put F1 at the top, but every racing game I want to play, I keep going back to F1. Keep going back to F1. You know, F1 and GT Sport. GT Sport for its track status and its racing, and F1 for its experience. Assetto Corsa, just it's a great game. I think it was a bit misreceived. You know, it needs more. It needs more on there. More people playing it. More of my friends really playing it, and I think I would play it. So, you know, taking F1 out of it, Assetto Corsa for force feedback would definitely come back. It is a great force feedback model. And, you know, and then we would have GT Sport, followed in last place by Project Cars 2, unfortunately, because I do really enjoy Project Cars 2, but the force feedback model is just not good enough to allow you to slide into those corners. Like I say, if anyone knows of a better, you know, a better setup for the force feedback, then please feel free to let me know, because I would be open to solutions. But unfortunately, it comes in last place in our comparison video. So anyway, hopefully, you know, I have given you a little bit of information about what games are better with the force feedback. Obviously, I can't show you me fighting against the wheel. You just kind of have to take my word for it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you watching. Drop a like. Leave us a comment on what you think the best force feedback game is out there. And we'll see you next time. So take care, and we'll see you soon.